to Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Thursday to you here on the Film Guy Network. We got a saying around here, last shows, best shows. All right, it is Thursday. We have done 8 hours of content, 9 hours of content if you include film study, 9 hours of content already to date this week on this channel. And the best 2 hours are coming right here, right now from 8 to 10 to close out your fine week of content here on the Film Guy Network. We don't do this every week. I think we probably should start to do this every week moving forward. The rest of these football games are going to be breakdown worthy. Brooks spent hours on the film study type of looking at the opponent type of evaluations, all right? We've been doing film study over on the Film Guy Network, okay, patreon.com/Brooks Austin this week, looking into Missouri. I took another deep dive into them by myself on the walking pad this morning, okay? Took a good about 90 minutes, took a stroll down Missouri lane, if you will, watching that offense and watching that defense, and I got a couple of keys to the matchup that I want to open tonight's show with. So I know you're here, you watched the title, you looked at the title, you said, ooh, I'm finna go find out. That's right, you ain't got to wait very long. We're going to hit you right off the top with it right here tonight. Starting with the defensive side of the football, I think you already know this, all right, but it's really, really evident if you watch this football team on tape, you have got to find number 3. You have got to find number 3, and they make it really, really hard to identify and locate where Luther Burden is on this offense, down in and down out. I've seen him at H-back behind the offensive tackles. I've seen him in the slot. I've seen him at running back. I've seen him bunched and hidden in trips bunch, in twins bunch, in all kinds of bunch duos. They do a great job, okay? I've seen him thrown in motion, okay, down in and down out on a down in to down out basis. They're going to make it extremely hard to identify where Luther Burden is, and he's the key to this offense. You're going to have to find him, all right? And again, they do a tremendous job of hiding him. I haven't studied a football team that does a good enough job or a better job of hiding their best player since probably Treylon Burks, okay, at Arkansas under our guy.
Browse.
Under our guy, what?
Browse.
Under our guy Browse. Under our guy Kendall Browse, right? They did a great job with Treylon Burks, hiding him all over the field. This is a very, very similar game plan here for Luther Burden. All right, so the key is to find him, identify where he is. It'll help you out with what they're doing. Most of their reverse game, most of their, all right, we're going to get it into a wide receiver's hands right quick. Most of that's done with Luther. So if you keep your eyes on 3, it will probably take you to the football more often than not. And it'll at least protect you from explosives. We got to identify him first and foremost as soon as they, quote unquote, break the huddle or attack the line of scrimmage. The other thing I got for you, it's obvious, all right, but it is clear. Make them one-dimensional. This team consistently runs the football, all right, but it's a facade. They don't want to. They want to be explosive. They want to throw the football. Okay, they're just doing it to take a bit of their own medicine, in my opinion, when I watch them on tape. They want to be fun, tricky, passy, explosive. That's what they want to do. They run the football, and they have established the running game over the last couple of weeks as an addition to their passing game. It has not been run to pass. It has very much so been pass to run. All right, it is a hard offense to stop in the run game, all right, in the sense that it's different. It's new. You haven't seen a wide zone football team like this year, okay? If you've been watching Georgia play this year, you've been seeing a lot of counter from teams. You've been seeing a lot of traditional inside zone, split zone, duo type stuff, okay? Pin pull every once in a while. But you have not seen a team that runs this much wide zone like Missouri does this weekend, so you have to be prepared for that, all right? But if you take them away, if you can put them in a box offensively, we talked about it last night. Kansas State did a really, really good job of limiting them in the run game, all right? If you can make them one-dimensional and you can get them off script and shut them down when they're actually taking their medicine and turning them into -2s, you can get them behind the sticks. And if that's the only way you're going to be able to get after the quarterback in this football game. All right, if you're in 3rd and 5s, I'm here to tell you the ball's going to be out before Jalen Walker can get a sack. All right, if you're in 3rd and 4s, the ball's going to be out before Damon Wilson, Michael Williams can get a sack. This football game, if Georgia's going to be disruptive on 3rd and 7+ or 3rd down, it's going to have to be in 3rd and 7+. You're going to have to be able to get after the quarterback on 3rd and long, all right? Cannot be 3rd and medium, but that's basic football. Everyone knows that. But against this football team in particular, they can be an explosive passing game, 1-2 ball out all day long. All right, Kirby Smart gave us a stat this week. This football team's getting rid of the ball. This quarterback is getting rid of the ball in 2.62 seconds, I believe is what he told us this week. So they're getting rid of it. All right, so if you're going to be able to make him hold it, you're going to have to be able to make them have to actually drive down the field to convert sticks. Let's flip over to the other side of the football. Actually, let's finish the offense. Watched the right tackle today. He's a sophomore. He caught my eye just because of some of the twitchy stuff that he was doing. I tweeted out some links today. Guys, this football program under Drink, they've done a really, really good job of recruiting the state of Missouri. That's obvious. But St. Louis in particular, it's got really, really great football. It's very similar to Birmingham. It's very similar to some metro portions of Atlanta. Some of these like metro hotbeds around the country, they produce tremendous, tremendous football players. St. Louis being one of those. He's done a great job kind of, bordering up that city, if you will, that region, if you will, and getting the best talent to stay home. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, it was why it was so surprising to watch Ryan Wingo go to Texas because Drink has done a tremendous job. Even Williams Winery. I don't know why I struggle so bad with that. But, right, that's that area, that region type of football player. It was shocking to see him lose that type of football player in Ryan Wingo. But this offensive line has improved from an athletic standpoint. All right, so they could do a little bit more in terms of being able to protect against high-end pass rushers and also be able to actually open up holes, in the run game and whatnot. Let's flip over on the other side of the football like I promised. Dude, anyone with a pulse has run the football against this football team. All right, any Power 5 football team with a pulse has been able to produce on the ground. K-State had 138 yards on the ground for 5.5 yards per carry. LSU had 274 on the ground for almost 6.5 yards per carry. Kentucky, 181 yards in a blowout. I mean, they were down in that football game most of the time for 5.8 yards per carry. Now, they were 2-1 in those football games. But the run game will be there at home Saturday for Georgia. So that brings me to my next key. If you're running the football successfully, if I believe you're going to be able to run the football successfully, I would imagine there's going to be some opportunities for you to take some shots down the field on Saturday for Georgia. You got to hit them. It's the last infinity stone. If Georgia starts hitting deep shots on this offense, that's it. Like, y'all are going to be able to score with anybody at will the rest of the season. This is going to be, I believe, a good weekend to kind of get loose. All right, they do a lot of mixed fronts. All right, they show a lot of different pressures in the box. They bring a lot of pressures in the box. From what I notice about studying them on 3rd and long, they're a super simulated pressure man blitz team. Okay, they're going to send at least 5 on most snaps. All right, so they are 17th in the country right now in sacks, and majority of that is because of confusion. When I watch Missouri on tape over the years, they look like they have so many bodies near the box, and it makes it really, really tough for young offensive lines to figure out who's coming, figure out who the threat might be, right? That's not the case with this Georgia offense. All right, everything that I have learned about these two football teams so far and watching them on film, guys, tells me that this is going to be a really, really explosive football game. I think Georgia puts up a bunch of explosives. I think Missouri finds ways to win 6 or 7 of these matchups that they're ultimately going to design, although I don't think Missouri has enough consistent play on tape right now to let me to believe they're going to come out and win this explosive nature battle. I got Georgia in like I will say, I'll go ahead and give it to me. I haven't done a final prediction yet. I haven't done a score prediction. I want to dump it out right now based off what I just rattled off. I think it's like a 45-31 football game. I think that's what we got. I think it's a lot of points, unless there's some type of defensive change, which might lead us. I mean, we can talk about it a little bit tonight. I think there's going to be some type of altering, not a total identity change, but I think Georgia might have to throw a little mix up here because Luther Burden really is special. All right, and I think he's so special that maybe, just maybe, you take a guy like Tyke Smith who has safety experience and you put him back at safety and you say, hey, Our best guy that's going to cover in the slot right now is Malachi Starks. Here you go. Just deal with this for 4 quarters, and let's see how that happens. Or deal with it however long you have to deal with it. But I think there might be a change-up coming. Or, I would develop it into the game plan if I were Georgia, because I do think that matchup in the slot is something that concerns me. Now, granted, they've played nobody defensively. And I get that. I do. But this is a super confident offense right now with a good coordinator who I think will move the ball. They'll move the ball Saturday, in my opinion. So welcome in, boys. That's what I got. I wanted to say 42-28, but I think that 42-21 or 45-20 or 31 is kind of where I'm settling. I think you control it the whole time. Don't get me wrong. I think you control this football game for 4 quarters. If you're a Georgia fan, don't freak out. But I do think Missouri is going to be able to score the football on Saturday. All the stacked bunches too, man. Like when I watch them on TV, I see a bunch of the stuff that has caused some of these quote-unquote communications over the last several weeks for Georgia. Welcome in. We have a loaded show for you guys tonight. I want y'all's thoughts, so start piling them up on those film observations. Maybe push back on some of those arguments or push back on some of those talking points. Whatever you want to do, I want to keep talking about those. But I want to welcome in our audience to tonight's show. We do have our final thoughts on the matchup. Apparently, this is the most important Georgia versus Mizzou matchup ever. Somebody put that in the notes. So.
Yeah. Rankings wise and what you're fighting
for. All right,
for.
don't spoil it. Apparently, we're going to talk about that tonight. How the crowd can actually impact this football game. Normally, I come pandering to you guys in a segment like this. I'm not going to. I'm going to be legitimately serious about this one. Who you cheering for? We do it every Thursday for you Georgia fans that watch TTD. We're going to tell you which football program, which SEC football program you need to be cheering for the Dogs moving forward. And we have a betting line update. But first and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. All right, prizepicks.com, using promo code Brooks, you can get a 100% deposit match today. What does that mean? You put up to $100, you will get $100 back instantly. I'm going to go ahead and tease my play of the week right now. All right, listen to me. Dejon Edwards, 91.5 yards rushing. Carson Beck, 285.5 yards passing. Brady Cook, 244.5 yards passing. Ladd McConkey, 58.5 yards receiving. Ra Thomas, 27.5 yards receiving. Give me all 5 with that tat-a-tat over. All right, it pays 10-1 right now on Prize Picks. You can get a 100% deposit match right now today using promo code Brooks. Run over there and go ahead and get that play. And I'm telling you right now, that's cash money. All right, cash money. I also want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at The Athletic Collection. Look at the kiddo. Bro, look at the kiddo's arts out there, man. Riley's first art piece getting on the board. Hey, Riley Austin, give her 3. First artwork.
Do not do the hand turkeys anymore?
I don't know. That's the wife. That's the wife and the kiddos.
Okay.
Anyways, Athletic Collection. If you want one of these dope posters, not the kiddos' arts, but the dope posters hanging around, you can go over to the Athletic Collection today. The link is in the description of this video, and that is an NIL play. Okay, so however many of those posters you want to purchase, that money a portion of that money, I should say, goes directly to the pockets of those athletes. Boys, welcome into tonight's show. How we doing?
Doing good. End of the week. We're getting there.
That's low energy.
All right.
We were kind of talking about it on the way here. We were like, damn, bro, there's 3 weeks after this.
I'm sad about it, dude, because it's like
3 weeks and then postseason, but like 3 weeks of the regular season. Like when the regular season ends, that's when it hits you of like, dude, the season's pretty much almost over.
Like I was telling Jay in the car, I was like, I feel like SEC media days were like a month ago, and now it's like, well, there's 3 games left in the regular season.
Well, the good news about working with a psycho is that we kind of work like this year round, so
but
you'll never get out of the groove.
There's not football, though. That's the difference.
No, there's not. But there's plenty to talk about. There's plenty to always, be amped about and always be perturbed about. There's always things to rant about. Mm-hmm. I'm not promising 4 nights a week during the off season. I'm definitely not. But maybe a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday slate. I don't think that would be too terrible to promise the audience right here, right now. But no, you are right. We are nearing that end. But no, we still got 2.5 months.
But on the bright side, this is when college football hits its peak.
Oh,
like
just
the last 4 weeks of college football in the
stern.
regular season. It is the best time of college football.
Absolutely, we get the nip in the air.
Oh.
It's hoodie season.
Good.
It's winter short season. Okay, get to break out the lotion.
It's always winter short season.
You know what I mean? Knees getting a little ashy. You know, y'all don't deal with the ashy skin. No. I got ashy skin.
A little
bro.
bit, yeah.
I just gotta drink water.
Drinking water does not solve everything, dude. I drink about a gallon a day. It does not solve everything, but no. Hey, not a bad tip there for most. But no, welcome into tonight's show. We do have a loaded one for you. I want to give everyone a quick little betting line update. Do you guys have any notes on my film thoughts, film observations, and my idea that Missouri's going to score points? I think you're going to want to push back on that.
Yeah, here's a question for you. How many times do you think Missouri's reached 40 points this season?
None.
None.
Based on the way you asked me, none.
Yeah, none.
They play balanced football is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They play balanced football, but I don't think there's anywhere.
And they take 66 snaps a football game. They're not trying. Here's what I'm trying to explain to you about Missouri. Missouri's not one of these football teams trying to play like LSU because they can't. They don't have enough dudes. So they're trying to play in like selective explosives, which is the exact same game plan they had last year against Georgia. And if you think about it, their offensive success last year really boiled down to like 5 plays.
Yeah, and they scored 22 points.
Yeah, so why this year can't they have 10 of those plays and score 31 points? That's all I'm saying.
Because they've scored 30 points. They didn't score 30 points against Middle Tennessee. They scored 35 against South Dakota.
I know.
They barely hit 30 against Kansas
State. I read
State.
the game logs too.
I don't think there's a way that going up against defenses like you're looking at some of the worst defenses in college football.
I'm with you.
Here's my.
I just don't understand how that would translate to being able to move the ball against the Georgia defense in Sanford
For
Stadium.
every opportunity, I looked at it and was like, damn, good coordinating. I looked at LSU's defense like, bro, come on. You weren't right. You weren't right. You were definitely wrong. Oh, shit, there's that one guy paying attention. So, yeah, I'm with you. They've played nobody. But, man, it's a fun offense to study, and I think they have 3 weapons. And I think if you have more than one, you have an opportunity to be explosive. 3 receiving weapons, by the way. They don't have a guy outside. But if there's anywhere I think Georgia is, quote-unquote, vulnerable defensively, it's the fact that they don't have one of these superstars at defensive tackle right now. Okay,
right.
Everyone's made that one. Okay, and they can be gotten in the explosives in the passing game, right? You've seen Tyke Smith get beaten a couple times. You've seen Javon Bullard get beaten a couple times. You've seen Dalen Everett get beaten a couple of times. You've seen these things happen. All I'm saying is of the offenses so far, this is the offense I think that has the opportunity to rack up a couple of these in a row, enough to be in the red zone a couple of times.
Right, but going back on that, they have the best red zone defense in the nation. So, I mean, when you can't get an explosive play and you have to score a touchdown, do you think Missouri's going to be able to get 30 points out of that in a Sanford Stadium environment?
They have one of the worst red zone defenses in the nation. They just haven't allowed a lot of possessions into the red zone.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
My pushback on it is, I know you just mentioned they have multiple weapons, but it definitely feels like it's one main guy. It's Luther Burden who they're kind of focusing the offense around. And offenses like these have not tend to have a whole lot of success against Georgia. I was trying to think of the ones over the years. 2 of them that really come to mind was one of the ones you mentioned was Arkansas and Treylon Burks, where he was an outside weapon that Arkansas really liked to utilize. And then another one was last year with Tennessee. I know they had both Cedric Tillman and they had Jalen Hyatt, but it was very much a Jalen Hyatt-focused offense. And even when Cedric Tillman did play against Georgia last year, he was coming off an injury and he was still banged up. And they didn't have too much offensive success either. And I was trying to think some other examples, but I couldn't off the top of my head.
Theo Weiss has 440 yards receiving. Mookie Cooper has 360. Marquise Johnson has 258 yards or 268 yards receiving. And here's the one. On 9 receptions. That dude's averaging 30 yards a catch. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying they're beating Georgia. I'm just saying they're going to score points tomorrow or Saturday. So you better buckle up, be ready to score, which I also said last night, ain't a fear. I do not fear Georgia in any shootout. Never. So, again, I'm not putting the narrative out that Georgia should be worried or you should be worried about Saturday. I'm just saying, hey, there's a football team that score points. It's going to be this one.
Maybe it's just that it's
one
hard.
of the ones that can
Maybe
score.
it's just hard to envision Georgia giving up that many points unless it's been it's been against historic great offenses like Ohio State last year or Alabama in 2021 when they had all their receivers healthy in 2020 when they got. So it's just maybe hard to kind of think about that happening, especially in a regular season game. I can't recall a time like that in recent memory where it's happened.
If they flip-flop Malachi and Javon, though, or Malachi and Tyke, they might skunk them.
Yeah, but it also
it's that big of a – I'm telling you, it's that big of a difference.
Yeah, and also
Malachi is going to be the guy that they do this with in the NFL because they have a whole 4 or 5 days to really put in a game plan. If there's some freak tight end in the NFL, like Malachi is going to spend a week learning how to just guard that guy, And then the next week it's going to be like, all right, we need you to play deep safety. He's like, okay, coach, I'm going to run center field safety all day.
I think that's what Detroit's been doing with that Branch kid.
Yeah, Darren Branch.
Yeah. Yeah, and going back to Jay Will's point, the common denominator between those offenses that score points and get past Georgia, they're all on neutral field games. You don't score like that at will or even move the ball super successfully when you're a good offense in Sanford Stadium. Like that, I think that's why Sanford kind of got that reputation now where it's one of the most underrated environments in college football.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Hey, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like and subscribe, and rate and review. And we appreciate you guys for being here with us tonight. It is a Thursday night. Normally, it's our last show. It is our best show of the week. We go hard in the paint on this one. Normally, the audience doesn't normally like stare or like show up and show out on this one. We appreciate you guys for being here tonight. If you found us, make sure you're hitting that like button like I just asked you to do and firing off in the chat as well. I want to give a quick betting line update. And this isn't even really an update. This is an overall kind of overview. First and foremost, on Sunday afternoon, Georgia opened as a 17.5-point favorite in this football game, according to most lines. It has since been bet down to 15 or 15.5, wherever you find your gambling needs and purposes. So there, a 2.5 to 2-point movement in this football game since Sunday. So a lot of money so far in on Missouri, and I have the stats on that here in just a second. The total has come down as well, 2 total points from 57 down to 55 in this football game. Georgia in 2022 was a 30.5-point football or a favorite in this football game. In 2021, this was staggering to see. They were a 40.5-point favorite in 2021, and they were a 14-point favorite in 2020. 72% of the money, boys, is currently on Missouri when bet against the spread. Okay, so for 72% of the money is being bet against the spread or on the against the spread line.
So Missouri
is being bet on Missouri. Correct.
Okay.
So that's a bet. That's a much better way to say that. 72% of the money is on Missouri to cover in this football game. So a lot of action there, but 54% is on Missouri on the money line. So about even there on the money line.
Yeah.
So the conclusion of that right there. Vegas thinks Missouri is going to cover in this football game. Georgia, it makes sense, is 2-5-1 against the spread this season. Boys, just general thoughts on what's been happening in Vegas this week.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the reaction to a lot of people are seeing what Georgia did to Florida and kind of going, oh, they figured it out now. Whereas it's kind of you still have to wait and see. One game isn't enough of a sample size. I think that's kind of what we said against Florida State where, yeah, you beat a Wake Forest team, but you still have more to prove. So I think that's kind of what it's going to be. It's kind of wait and see with this test against a good Missouri offense.
Man, if I was a betting man consistently like this, I would not be touching spreads against Georgia just because, like the stat you just mentioned of how they haven't really been covering spreads like that, I just wouldn't be touching it right now. But maybe if they can continue to do what they did a week ago, when they get on a heater in this last stretch of the season, I think I would start hammering Georgia to start covering.
Yeah, I mean, this has been – isn't Georgia historically bad against the spread?
They're not great. They're not great
predates.
Teams against the spread,
but
they're usually pretty.
This
mid.
predates Kirby Smart.
And I think
I remember my dad heavy gambler. I remember my dad bitching about Mark Richt never being able to cover. always bitching about Mark Richt never being able to cover. Yeah, it's 313. Well, let me get 100 on Georgia. Damn it! Sorry guys, y'all can't eat tonight. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's not historically a great team against the spread.
And I think a lot of that, or I shouldn't say a lot of that, but recently at least, it has to do with the fact that in 2021 it was a 40-point spread against Missouri. Like that year, it didn't matter who it was. The spread was going to be 25+ against them. No matter who it was in the regular season, Vegas was heavy favorites for Georgia. And then I think it also just has to do with the fact of, at least in years past as well, it was kind of hard to know what kind of Georgia offense you were going to get that week. Not in the scheme of things of like if they were going to be good or not, but just like, are they going to do what they did to Arkansas and just pound the rock and absolutely murder them that way? Or are they going to cut it loose this week and start putting up points and hang 50 on LSU?
I think another thing you have to kind of be careful of is that money is probably going to start coming on Georgia come Friday and early Saturday morning, just because a lot of people wait for that value to come down, and then because it might get down to Missouri minus or Missouri plus 12, 13, and that's when the big bettors will jump on that. So I think that's something you have to watch.
I'm watching the chat. I think we got ELE is the rule around here. Y'all ever seen Semi-Pro? Okay, Semi-Pro, tremendous movie. Okay, with Will Ferrell, Love Me Sexy. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Now he got a line in there. Okay, ELE. It's the only rule. Everybody love everybody. So I don't want to see commenter A and commenter B getting in some beef unless it's talk the dog hour and we let a Florida Gator slip in here. Okay, that's the only time y'all allowed to be a little, angry towards somebody during the local hour when somebody not from here be bumping. But hey, ELE, all right. Everybody love everybody up in that chat. Y'all be nice.
What's going on? I didn't even see.
I don't know. I just see some every once in a while. So I'm just overall, okay. Show's starting to get a little bigger. Okay, just don't want no toxicity around our content. That's not what we're about. We're about laughs and good times and hot takes every once in a while when I get a little angry. Okay, that Buffalo get to rolling every once in a while. You gotta watch out. So bets I'm hammering. First of all, I already gave you the prize picks a lay down. All right, it's paying 10-1. If you're listening right now, if you just jumped in, I am paying your next month's mortgage. Listen to me, okay? Just kidding. Don't be laying the mortgage on this one. Dejon Edwards, 91.5 yards, smooth money. Give it to me. Carson Beck, 285.5. The dude has only thrown for less than 300 yards once in 9 games throughout his starting career. Brady Cook, 244.5. Going to be tough. That's one I'm sweating, but I'm taking the over there. Ladd McConkey, 58.5 yards receiving. I like that one. Ra Thomas, 27.5. Taking them all over. Give me the 10-1 lay over there on Prize Picks. Promo code Brooks today, 100% deposit match. But I also like this one, okay, wherever you got your back alley bookie, okay, if you can find them on a first quarter lay, I like Missouri plus 6.5 in the first quarter. They play slow. Okay, they're a 60, like we looked it up the other day, 64 snaps a game, something like that?
66.
66 snaps a game. I would imagine they're trying to dial that down to about 58 in this football game. I think they want to play even slower than they typically do. Okay, thinking maybe first possession really, really well scripted from Missouri, like we've seen this year. Drive it down, punch it in, maybe not, 3 points, whatever. All right, I think we got a 7-3 football game at the end of the first quarter. Give me that 6.5 plus Missouri. I do like Georgia to cover in this football game, though. And I also love the over at 57.5. I don't think there's any way that doesn't hit. So there you go. Anything you boys like?
I would pretty much
Actually, the over's down to 55.5.
I would take the over on Carson Beck passing yards pretty consistently moving forward. Just the way he's been playing. I mean, heck, when you've gone, 4 straight games throwing for 300 yards or more, I don't see – especially if the lines continues to stay below 300, I would continue to take Carson Beck and bet on that every single time.
Yeah, I like the Dejon Edwards rushing one. I think, like you said, this Missouri defense allows a lot of rushing yards, and Dejon being running back one right now will have an opportunity to reach that.
Well, there you go. There you have it, our betting line update and betting update in general. So, yeah, where do you want to go next? Do you want to talk about how we just hit 16,000? Subscribers? I don't think we've announced that here on the channel.
We have not.
I don't think we've not announced it, but I don't think we've acknowledged it. So, yeah, congrats. I think in August when we started, we had, 12.4?
Yeah, something like that.
So, you boys right there, you're responsible for 3,500 subscribers. So, congratulations.
Let's go, dude.
Give yourselves 3.
Came in as the dweebs and now look at
Definitely
us.
here for you.
They're definitely here for us.
Definitely here for you.
Look at the dweebs now.
Yeah, I know. Look at them. Just out here building brands, just massive platforms. No, in all seriousness, I don't know I don't even have goals on subscribers. I just update it every single day. So yeah, tell your friends. I think that's the only thing left for us. Okay, we've worked extremely, extremely hard to produce a really, really high quality product. We don't have massive TV backing, all right? But this, by God, I think this looks as close to a television broadcast as anybody who's ever gotten into the YouTube vlogging space. Okay, I don't think we're quite YouTube vloggers anymore or live streamers. Okay, I think this resonates and feels and sounds and tastes and smells like a TV broadcast. All right, and I hope you guys are showing some love and telling your friends about what we got going on over here. I know the Georgia space is. I know you guys are well aware of us, and we appreciate you guys. But tell your friends outside of the Georgia space. Hey, apparently this is the most important game ever. Between Georgia and Missouri?
It is. So
there's only been 11 of them.
Yeah, they've only played 12 times.
Yeah.
Georgia's 11-1 in the series. Missouri beat them in 2013. But I want to kind of give you a trivia question.
Please do.
Since Kirby Smart's been to Georgia, he's played one ranked Missouri team. What year was it?
2018.
No.
No?
J-Will?
2016.
It was a Drew Lock Missouri football team for sure.
Surprisingly, no.
No?
It was 2020. Missouri was ranked 25th.
COVID year.
They backdoored in, and Georgia beat the hell out of them in Mizzou. So that's the one time that it's been a rank. There's been a couple of times under the Mark Richt era where it's like Georgia was 15 and Missouri was in the back 20s. But this is the most important Georgia versus Missouri game ever because it's for the SEC East. I mean, even in the years that Georgia or Missouri did win the SEC East in 2013 and 14, the games weren't that consequential. Like this is like whoever wins has full control of the East after this. So it's for sure the most important game. If Georgia loses, I mean, they're kind of in a situation where you don't control your destiny about going to the East, winning the SEC championship. You have to kind of wait for Missouri to make a mistake.
Correct. The ball's no longer in your court.
Yes.
All right. Yes, that too. So I think this is a huge game, and it's kind of being advertised as that. But at the same time, I still think it's a Georgia versus Missouri game.
It's another reason why I get bad vibes if I was a Missouri fan right now. I would be getting some bad vibes.
Just worried that Georgia's going to come out and whip your ass because they played to their competition.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of, it feels like a dumb, like it feels like it's just it's because you're Georgia based, whatever. But like it is just one of those feelings. Like whenever these types of games come around, for whatever reason, Georgia shows up in in a big time way.
This is what Alabama.
You think the
used
reason
to
might
do.
be because they're extremely well coached?
Maybe.
That might be the reason.
Might be because they have one of the best college football coaches coaching them right now.
Probably. I think that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is what the peak days of Alabama were like, where it was like, hey, LSU, they've got Leonard Fournette. This might be the year they get him, and then it's a 34-10 squashing. So it's games like these where the elite teams rise to the occasion, and the teams that aren't maybe as elite as we think get exposed.
Do you know when the first matchup was?
The first matchup?
The first matchup.
The very first matchup?
Very first matchup.
It was in like the 60s.
It was in 1959. Do you know where it was played?
A football field.
Miami in the Orange Bowl. Wally Butts and them boys.
Nice.
Yep. Fran Tarkington, the quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Hell yeah.
Over under 500 total yards of offense in this football game.
Over.
So under.
Between both football teams?
Under.
Over.
476 yards of total offense between these two football teams. The most yardage gained by an individual, 128 yards passing by Fran Tarkington.
Hell yeah, dude.
Man, bring that kind of football back. Oh, wait. We have it. Iowa and Minnesota played last week. A little 2023 version of Georgia-Mizzou 1959 style. But, yeah, you are correct. Georgia is 11-1 in this series. Oh, no, 10-1 in an 11-game series is what I saw. Not 12 games.
I saw 11-1, but
all right, well, either way.
I mean, different places keep different statistics on that. Like
Wally Butts and them boys.
There's a debate on how many games Georgia and Florida have played.
Correct.
So like things like that, but
Wiki said 10-1.
Georgia,
Actually, Georgia said 10-1.
Georgia Dogs to me said 11-1, but
I saw it on UGA's actual website.
we'll look at it later.
Yeah, we'll definitely argue.
I'm not
later.
arguing either way.
I am.
Right.
We always pander to the crowd. We don't always do, but every once in a while, I come out here and I do I think, what was it, for UAB this week or this year? I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
it was one of those games.
Yeah, I like sarcastically challenged you to come out and be loud. This time I'm not. Normally, again, this segment is very much so me pandering to you, me joking about, hey, come on, show up for this home game. You only get like 6 of them. Actually, I think you only get like 5 of them. This year you got 6 of them. But normally you only get like 5 of them because you got the neutral site game.
Home games, I think you got 7 this year.
You got 7 this year because of Ball State.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, normally I'm out here like, come on. It's going to be a good one. Stick around. Make sure you see the lights in the fourth quarter. Normally that's what I'm doing. But I'm being dead ass. I'm being dead serious on this segment today. Because, normally I'm out here trolling you to get you to show up, telling you that, like, I don't know, Sanford's like the 3rd loudest stadium in the conference, maybe the 4th, depending on how you feel about Auburn. I troll you to say something like, teams aren't afraid to come in here, and then you get all mad and you show up. That's what Kirby normally does, something like that. But I'm going to tell you from a realistic standpoint, like an actual football discussion here with you guys, and I have to pander to you, and I have to troll you to get you mad to show up and be angry and pissed off and loud for this football game. Guys, they run a lot of pre-snap motion. Okay, if you remember Kirby Smart being asked about the Auburn game, we asked him, I think it was a Tuesday presser. We were like, hey, Coach, what goes into the game planning of an away game when you're going into a hostile environment like this? And the first thing he said was simplify the game plan. You got to be able to go out there, line up, and beat people. You can't be worried about pre-snap motions or getting into this proper look or whatever. You got to be able to do that on Tuesday. Draw it up, line up, go play. This team does not line up and go play. This team is all kind of motions, all kind of pre-snap looks, all kind of standing at the line of scrimmage. So as a fan on Saturday, you can legitimately impact this offense, make it so loud that they don't feel as if that is a possibility. Also, you can really mess up the tempo and meshing of their offense. Okay, a lot of their speed sweeps, a lot of their jet sweeps, a lot of this kind of reverse action stuff, a lot of this is based off timing the snap up with the motion. Well, if they have a hard time of hearing, that's going to be an issue on Saturday as well. So you have a legitimate chance to not only impact the offensive line from this offense, but you have a chance to impact the entire mesh and continuity of this offense. That's legitimate 100% talk right there to you here on the channel. Thoughts on what the fans can do on Saturday, boys?
Yeah, I mean, look no further than last year's Tennessee game. I think they had, 5 or 6 pre-snap penalties in that game,
Yeah.
just from crowd noise, not being able to get a play in. And that's a team that traditionally goes fast as well. So fans can absolutely be a 10-point difference in this game.
You get 2 more. You get 2 more this season, so you might as well make it count
That's a
now.
great way to put it.
You got 2 weeks to
Damn.
let the vocal cords rip. Make them freaking count these next 2 weeks. I mean, and you have 2 great games. It's not like we're saying this like, oh, you get Vanderbilt and then you get a Tennessee game at the end of the year. These are 2 premier matchups now, 2 ranked opponents that you have up on the schedule. So if you ain't going to let it rip this weekend, I don't know if you ever will.
That boy said, let it eat. You got to. I mean, he said it. Number 12 this week, number 10 next week. Only 2 more ops to see them Bulldozers go out there. I don't know why I said it that way.
And maybe Atlanta, if you really want to count Atlanta.
That Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
No, I'm talking Bobby Dodd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
They flood that thing.
Yeah, they do flood Bobby Dodd. I don't know. Georgia Tech has more ranked wins this year than anybody in the state of Georgia. It's a hot football team, man.
That's a fun fact.
That is a fun fact. And techies will tell you every chance they get right now. I think it's the only time they've had one of those kind of ribbons at Georgia since, I don't know, the last time they beat them.
Yeah.
Which was 2016.
First year Kirby was there.
2016. So, yeah, I would imagine that, I think from here on out, Tech just gets a beating. Tech just gets a beating because they gave him an L year one. He hates them off rip.
Yeah.
Like, it's been very clear that he hates those guys more than anybody. So, yeah, I definitely think the crowd noise can 100% be a factor this weekend. Boys, where do y'all want to go next? I think all we have left right now is who are we rooting for this weekend? And we got a lot of time to kill, so let's start talking about it. Y'all go ahead and think about it. Who you rooting for this weekend and why?
So it doesn't really affect you other than it's basically asking who do you want to play in the SEC championship, because whether Bama loses or LSU loses, it doesn't affect your running in the East. So that's kind of the main question is who do you want to play? So
let's round robin that discussion. Who do you want to play and why?
I want to play Bama, dude. Like you're getting into the waning years of Nick Saban's career. And you're not guaranteed
People
to play him
keep
anymore.
killing that, man. People keep coming out here and be like, "Oh, Nick Saban." I feel like we've been doing the Nick Saban go retire since 2014.
But yeah, but you can't tell me more than 90% of his career is done.
Dude, eventually one day you're gonna be right. I just don't know if it's today, son. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things.
Yeah, but
it's like eventually you keep saying it's gonna die. Like, eventually it's gonna die. Like, you're gonna be right. Just keep standing on it.
No, obviously that's a part. But I'm saying, like, we're closer to the end than we are the beginning of Nick Saban's college football career. You can't argue with that.
Oh, that's fair. That's how time works. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is you don't know how many more chances you are going to get to beat Nick Saban. And the one overhanging thing is that Nick Saban owns Kirby Smart. You got the one win in 2021 national championship, but other than that, you haven't been really able to say, we can beat Nick Saban. So obviously you want to do that. You beat the hell out of LSU last year, so why not? What good is it going to do to beat him again?
So that's from a we feel good about the win standpoint,
right?
Yeah. Who do you want to play because you can beat them?
I'll tell you.
Screw it. I want his answer too.
From a stylistic standpoint, I mean, I think playing LSU goes into your favor a lot more.
Why?
because, yes, they have an explosive offense, but their defense gives up a lot of explosive too. And like you said, you don't need to worry about winning shootouts if you're a Georgia team anymore. They have a defense enough that can slow down the LSU offense. I'm not saying stop them, but they also now have an offense that can score 50 if you need to. Check the LSU game last year. Check the Ohio State game last year.
So now we have a new way to form this. Who do you want to beat and who do you want to play, right? Who do you want to beat is like what win would feel better as a Georgia fan. Who do you want to play is who do you think you have a better chance of beating?
Well, I'll tell you who I'd want to play. I went with LSU too, not only just because of LSU's defense, but I think Alabama can do more harm to you than what LSU can. I think that defense could be able to maintain you more on offense, absolutely, than LSU's. And I just think that Alabama offensively, while they are stagnant, but they're 78th in total offense right now, and they're averaging like right at 30 points per game. But I think Alabama has more opportunity and obviously has the better all-around roster to where I would rather take your chances with LSU. As to who I would rather beat, I don't know that I don't really get caught up in that anymore. Like Georgia had their moment against Alabama in the national title game, so I don't really care.
Kirby watching this just absolutely just firm.
I don't care who we play.
Who it is. Just line them up.
I don't. I honestly look. Honestly, it would be more hilarious for Alabama not to be in Atlanta than to be there and play against you and you beat them. Like, you get to clown them for not even making it to Atlanta for 2 years in a row. To me, that's even better than playing them and beating them.
I don't know, something about being because say hypothetically you beat Nick Saban this year in the SEC championship, he retires. You as Georgia fans can say you ended his career. That is the ultimate, and yes, you obviously don't care if you're winning. You're not worried about Nick Saban in that aspect. But to be a Georgia fan, to say for years to have that man haunt you.
You can say right now, we beat you in the national championship game and you climbed after that. We ended your career. We ended your run at Alabama.
Right, but then you can cement that even more when you say we beat you again in the 2023 SEC championship.
I don't care. Just line it up.
Just line it up. Hey, line up some questions in the chat, all right? We don't do a lot of Q&A, but we do have some time to burn, so let's go ahead and start doing that. I got
one more. Go ahead, and then there was another.
Right. Let's hear your finishing thought, though, first.
No, it's a different segment.
All right, say less. All right, look, I know y'all just went through that whole thing. You want to beat Bama, and that feels good. I would understand that from a fan base perspective. I'm with you. Beating Bama from a Georgia fan's perspective from all those years, and Tyler Simmons was onside, second towards. I understand. You want Bama, and you want to beat them, and that feels good. I think you want to play Bama too. I know I've said that you can win shootouts, and you can, but shootouts can end up being coin flips, no matter how good you are offensively. If you score 45 and the other team scores 46, you lose, right? I mean, that's how they work. But anybody historically can lose those shootouts. They make you nervous all game. I felt like even the SEC championship game last year, you were up against that football team for majority of that football game, and then midway through the third quarter, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. All right, don't write the final report articles yet. All right, we might be in for a 4-quarter fight. You know what I mean? And that's how great offenses work. But dude, I haven't seen a recipe for this Alabama type of football team beating Georgia recently. All right, what is this Alabama recipe? This Alabama recipe is we're bigger, badder, better than everybody else right now. We can run the ball better than everybody else, and then we can get behind you because you've dedicated too many bodies to the box to stop the run. Bro, Georgia ain't dedicated too many bodies to the box to stop the run since 2018, the first 6 games. They've been sub 100 allowed yards per game on the ground for like 4.5 years. They don't give up yardage on the ground. You cannot be I'm a big bad bully football team and beat Georgia. That's what we know. So, dude, if I were Georgia, I would be looking at it and being like saying, like, I know they're super talented, but they want to box. Let's box. We're big brother. I'm ready to box. That's what we do. We're king of boxing. All right, so bring that ass on over here. We'll box it for 4 quarters. That would be my attitude if I were sitting in that locker room saying, well, let's watch this game, see which one of these opponents we're going to get. What say you about this idea that Georgia doesn't get outboxed? When was the last time Georgia's gotten out-physicaled?
For an entire game, I can't remember a time.
3 quarters, 2.5 quarters against Mizzou last year.
Yeah, like
that's the only one I got.
There's been moments where you're like, oh god, like the 4th quarter of the 2021 SEC championship, Bama just had their way running the ball. But things like that, I can't remember a 4-quarter game where you come away saying Georgia just got flat out beat. Not since 2017.
Yeah, that was the only game I could think of was 2017 against Auburn.
Yeah.
All right, let's start firing off some chat questions. We already got them. I know you said you had another segment. Well, let's hammer some of these. Actually, let's get final score predictions. I already gave mine. 45-31 is where I'm about. What do you got?
I'm going to go 44-24.
Okay. What do you got?
41-20.
All right, so you guys think they cover. I think they score a little bit more points. We all think they handle the football game, though, right?
Yes.
Four quarters, I think they handle it. I think the first quarter, give me that plus 6.5 from Mizzou. I think you're going to be looking at like a 10-6 first quarter, something like that. All right, let's start firing some questions off right here. You think Smile spies Cook Saturday? I know there's been a lot of talk about how athletic Brady Cook is, and he's serviceable with his legs. Don't get me wrong, and they do some quarterback design run, quarterback draw type stuff. It won't be a spy; it'll look like a spy. All right, one of these simulated pressures where he just drops out and he's kind of got that area. Georgia plays that a lot to stop all quarterback run or quarterback scramble and any type of potential slip screens, anything like that. So, yeah, you'll get some spy-ish looks, but they won't 100% be quote-unquote spies. Will you center this since I'm going to be staring at this computer for just a minute? I hate to produce you while we're producing me. Let's go here. Who do you think are the first rounders on this team from freshman to sophomore? This is a really, really tough question. First of all, start with Malachi Starks and Mykel Williams. Those two guys, I believe, are first round quality. What?
I just remembered Malachi Starks is a sophomore.
Yeah, that's right. Still a sophomore, as is Mykel. So it's going to be hanging around quite a while. Let's see here. I think Marvin Jones has the traits, okay, to have one good season and become a first-round draft pick. Like next year as a full-time starter after, assume Chad's still got a whole nother year, doesn't he? COVID year, super year, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
I would imagine if Marvin Jones becomes a starter at some point at the University of Georgia, he's going to play his way into a first-round type of caliber player. With the way Kirby talks about his mind, God dang, his body's so good. There's no way he just doesn't develop into one of these types of guys. Let's see here. I think Brock Bowers, obviously. Let's talk about defensive line. I don't think there's anybody in this upper class. Nazir Stackhouse has got preseason got some love, but I don't think so. Nose tackles got to be super, super freaks to be first-round draft picks. Amarius Mims, obvious first-round draft pick, in my opinion. Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling has the traits to do so and will follow in line. Basically, if you have the traits and you play tackle at Georgia, you're a first-round draft pick. That's kind of been known for since Kirby's been here. So, and I think a lot of it has to do with they make them play hard. If you got traits and you play hard, you're going to be a first-round draft pick. Who am I missing? Smile's got an opportunity, depending on what the NFL Combine looks like and depending on what the rest of the film looks like from this year, because it looks phenomenal right now. And I know the Combine's going to look great.
Could a guy like Janelle Aguero develop into something like that?
It's too far out for me to tell. The measurables coming out of IMG Academy, because that's one of those schools where we're going to know. You know what I mean? We're going to know how big, fast, strong you are when you come out of there. It's basically like NFL Combine every year down there in the spring. So we know how big, fast, tall you are. Young and playing like he's young, playing like he's still catching up with it right now. A little stiffer than I thought he was going to be from just an initial evaluation standpoint. He's not on the roster yet, but Ellis Robinson. I think Ellis Robinson's got a chance to be the best corner Kirby's ever coached.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. That guy's a freak. And next year, this time, he'll be on that roster. All right, let's go on to our next one. Does Monroe Freeling get playing time? If it's a blowout or if there's an injury, I don't think they roll him out there just for the hell of it, even though they did last Saturday. What defensive scheme would you run against Bama? I think they can be covered. We got College Courtroom coming up next hour with a Bama defendant, and I'm going to tell him straight up, I think Bama can be covered. So I'd run cover two-man over or cover one-man and maybe even cover two-man under if you think you can stop their run with 6 in the box or even 5 with an extended look. Let's see here. Does TID have 1.5 sacks? Not Saturday. I think the 1 sack is a good little measuring stick per game for all these guys. Multiple sack games are required or require super, super speed rush guys. Look for Jalen Walker this Saturday per my sourcing. What is a higher number, UGA mascot TV appearances and we just jumped to the bottom after that. Hold on. What did that question say? What is higher, the number of UGA mascot appearances or Mizzou interceptions? Bro, Ugga get on the TV like every third commercial break, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ugga's the man, bro.
Yeah, Ugga's that man. Ugga also gets the loudest pop in stadium. You've noticed this, haven't you?
The
loudest pop in stadium. I know you're normally in the student section or somewhere. Bro, it gets dumb loud when Ugga's on the cam. Weird. Not weird.
Whoa.
I mean, not weird. Not weird. I shouldn't say weird. Should not say
Chat,
weird.
get him.
Boy.
But here's the deal. Here's all I'm saying. Like, Carson Beck should probably get a louder pop than the dog. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Probably does a little bit more for the fan base in terms of making them happy than Ugga. Hot take? That'll get you angry.
Not a hot take, but you have to understand. How many people of the 93,000 are in that stadium? 1, don't really care about football. 2, are already shithoused, and 3, genuinely just love dogs. Think about it. That's probably half. So then
dogs are universally loved.
Yes.
Exactly.
Similar to Josh Pate.
Mm-hmm.
You just compare Josh Pate to dogs?
I mean, I didn't.
I think you did.
Did I?
I think so.
I don't know. He is universally loved, though, it seems. Here we go. On to our next one. Does Truss get back to his ways falling on his face this week?
Damn.
Yeah, that's rough. Get me the name for number 6 on Missouri's roster, please. And get me a height weight on Mans, because he's modern day Sean Oakman. You remember Sean Oakman?
Oh, yeah.
From Baylor?
Oh, do I remember
Bro,
Sean Oakman.
This man looks like Sean Oakman. He is massive. I believe he's like, on tape he looks 6'6", all of 290.
Sean Oakman was like my first memory of like college football memes.
Yeah. The Mark Ingram and Sean Oakman meme. Right?
Even before that. No, Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I know, but who was he at the coin toss with? Because that's when he's standing
Mark Ingram,
there like
Derrick Henry.
Transformer.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Do you have it yet?
I had to pull up a different website because Missouri's website is bugging.
Get it together, Mizzou.
Get it together, Mizzou. But anyways, Mans looks huge.
Darius Robinson.
Darius Robinson. How big is Darius Robinson?
He's 6'5", 296.
Yeah.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, he going to play right over Truss on Saturday. So, yeah, you might see some foliage on the face. But, hey, I think you're going to see – I think you might see Amarius Mims this weekend. He dressed last weekend and warmed up and went through the motions. But Kirby said he wasn't quite confident and ready to go. So, that was that last week. I think you might actually get him this week. Who are the scariest teams for UGA to meet in round 1 of the playoff? I'll give you guys this one.
So this would be a team that I would say can score a lot of points, but also feels like they've been shorted, kind of like last year with Ohio State, where they felt like they had something to prove. So I would say it's whoever is a team that doesn't win their conference necessarily. I don't know if you have a non-conference champion in there, but maybe like a Florida State or something like that, where say Georgia goes all the way through the season, they're number 1, Florida State gets put at 4, they feel disrespected, they have an edge, something like that. I think stylistically and from a roster standpoint, all those teams are dangerous to a degree. Like, it's the top 4 teams in the nation. There's going to be problems each side. I think the team that plays with the most fire and vigor is going to be something that worry you.
If to actually name teams, I would say Oregon, there's a place for them to be named into that. Kind of going off of the conversation you were just saying of, maybe they have a little bit of a good old chip on their shoulder after losing to Washington. I would throw Texas in there with Quinn Ewers. I think that they're a team that they're explosive. They have really good receivers. Quinn Ewers, when he's healthy, they've been spinning it well with him. The defense is good enough to keep you in football games. But other than that, I don't know that there is any other teams out there that I would say, oh, that's one that you should really hope is not revealed next year's in the college football playoff.
Greg Hendricks asked us, hey, I got a question, Brooks. How did you get started covering UGA? What was your first post-game interview? First post-game presser that I was available to go to was, I believe, Kent State in 2019. Or was that Murray State? Was that Murray State? Murray State. And I distinctly remember watching Trayvon Walker, who I believe was a true freshman that year, cover kicks. And at 6'5", I think he was heavy that year. He was like 295 pounds. And he's running down on kickoff, and I just could not stop watching it because they kicked off so many times in that football game. Kicked off so many times in that football game. And I remember asking Kirby, I noticed Trayvon Walker covering on special teams. It's the first game of the year. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, it was he didn't. He kind of looked straight at me like, yeah. He was playing special teams. Everybody plays special teams here, but like, why were you watching special teams? I'm not used to people watching special teams. Who the hell
is this guy?
Who's this guy? So yeah, that was the first one. But no, in terms of how I got started covering UGA, fun fact: in March of 2019, I got approached by a very, very small company to start covering a team, be it run my own website, run my own, be a beat reporter essentially, and become a lead editor for an entire website with no team or no sport, just me thrown out into the beat, see what you can kind of do type of deal. And I got the option either Georgia Tech or Georgia. And
what a tough decision.
Yeah, I know, right? Took it relatively quickly. I didn't even let him finish the question. I said, well, we'll take Georgia. And that was in March 2019. I had 400 followers. We were under the website name The Bulldog Maven at the time, which made no sense. I bothered my bosses for months and months and months. And they said, don't worry, there's a name change coming. And in September of 2019, Sports Illustrated bought the media rights to, it's a way bigger discussion than ours, but our URL changed from maven.io to si.com, and then henceforth all the SI climbing of the ladder and all that good stuff. So, no, it's been a good run. It's been fun. I never, ever imagined that it would be this. I mean, that's for damn sure. I remember when I first got into the beat, I made a lot of mistakes, but I was young and dumb and just hungry, just trying to make waves as much as I could. And just stumbled into film study one day and was like, hey, like I'd do this anyways. I was going to watch them anyways. But I started doing it on recruits. And people were like, okay. And it started, really, really catching on. I remember doing a thread on Tate Ratledge's class. I did a Twitter post for every single football commit and went through all of them and did film study on all of them. And it was back in the day when I would literally just hold my phone up and take a pen and just point and talk over my phone. We've come a long, long way.
Very long way.
And I am proud to say it's been all us. You know what I mean? It's been all in-house. It's been all in-house grown. And the only way that was possible is because of the support from you guys. I know that's cliche, but in all honesty, that's the reality. What's your face? I'm way up in the chat. I can't read what you're reading.
Oh, no, this most recent question is pretty sus.
All right. Cool. All right, now I'm thrown off. Here we go. Brooks, behind Burden, which weapon scares you the most? The Mookie Cooper kid is twitchy. That worries me a little bit if I were Georgia. Do you think that Michigan paid HAC? Don't know what that means. No. Here we go. Why do you think Brady went so long without an interception? Confident in the system, man. Third year in. I think a lot of people forget. Kirby made a comment about Carson Beck. He said, find me the quarterback in college or professional football that spent 4 years in the same system. Brady Cook spent 3 and playing, right? 3 years playing in this system, not 3 years sitting on the bench and then 9 games playing in the system. This is a guy that's extremely confident in the system, and when that happens, you don't tend to throw balls where you're not supposed to, right? Or not know where people are, so you're off time and you play out of sync with the rest of the offense. So that tends to happen when you're not careful or when you don't know what you're doing back there. So there you go. What else we got? You said you had another segment, but we're wrapping up.
It's honestly just a question.
All right.
It's not even – people are going to say, oh, this doesn't matter. But how many points does Georgia have to win by on Saturday for them to get the number 1 ranking back?
Cover.
That's what I was going to say. 16. Win by 16. But who's Michigan got this weekend?
Purdue, I think.
Purdue.
Who's Ohio State got
Rutgers.
this weekend?
Rutgers. So, I mean, they're going to both play.
They're playing nobody. They're going to trounce them both. Win this game by 21 points. You're the number 1 team in the country. Win next week, you're already the number 1 team in the country, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a whole nother hour, and it's a damn loaded one. College Courtroom was an absolute banger a couple weeks ago. We're going to bring it back, and this time we're crapping on Alabama. So if you want to see us get after it with them Alabama Crimson Tide, head over there to NBR. We'll see you in a matter of minutes.